Today, I want to do some myth busting, and I love some of these myths that have come up. Well, let me back up a little bit. I would have to say that over the course of the last 15 years or so, a lot of business owners have actually become very savvy when it comes to digital marketing. They understand the nuances of how much you need to spend, what kind of work you need to do, and all that kind of stuff to make your digital marketing work. However, I find that there's a few myths that are persistent that just does not seem to go away. And things like SEO is a one-time thing, or if you spend more on PPC, you're going to get a better result, or things like more views is what you really need. And there's a number of them. I'm going to go over some of them, but then there's also some new myths that have come up in this age of AI, right? And so what I want to do is I want to go over the myths, give you my take on why they're myths, and give you some practical examples on why you should not believe these myths, and also point you in the right direction. So with that being said, let's spend the next 20 minutes or so talking about the persistent digital marketing myths and why they're not true and why you need to get it out of your head so that you can get the most out of your digital marketing. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Sailes Kimide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes. So when it comes to some of the more persistent myths, I would say the number one persistent myth that I encounter all the time is SEO, search engine optimization, is a one-time thing. And many people don't understand why you would need to have an ongoing engagement when you're doing SEO for your website, and why you need to be continually looking at your website from an SEO standpoint and making changes and tweaks and things like that. Well, the number one reason why you want to do that is because the algorithms are constantly changing, right? Now, they're not changing, like it's kind of like a death by a thousand cuts situation, right? So one little tweak on Google's algorithm today may not affect you as much as you think, but if you allow, your site to not be updated and optimized after 35 of those tweaks, you might start to see a change in your performance when it comes to SEO. So making sure that your website is in compliance with the latest version of Google's algorithm is the first thing. But the other thing is, I don't know if you probably have experienced this as a search person when you're doing a search on Google, but they love fresh content. They love content that has just been published, that is new, that is exciting, that is well-researched, that is well put together, well-written, answering specific questions. That's the kind of content they like. And so if you might have done a really good job answering a particular question related to your business, like for instance, I'm just going to use an example of a dentist. Like maybe you wrote a really, really good blog post on, why dental implants are important, right? Now you might have written that 5 years ago. Chances are that article is not going to rank very well 5 years later, just because there's so much competition, algorithms have changed, and it's 5 years old. We live in a very, very fast-paced society, right? And so somebody reading an article from 5 years ago on dental implants might feel like, is this dated? This looks really good, but has dental implants changed in the last 5 years, right? How much has it changed? Are there new technologies, new things that have happened in this particular field that maybe this article is not really capturing? So that's just the way we live in society, right? And so that myth that SEO is a one-time thing where you just basically do the optimizations today, set it and forget it. That's just a really persistently bad myth. And you need to basically stop believing that. It requires, websites require constant updates. It needs algorithm compliance. It needs new keywords. It needs new structures. It needs just new content and things like that. So I think I made my point. I've repeated myself a couple of times there. So, all right. So now let's go to myth number 2, right? So myth number 2 is that the more you spend on Google Ads, the more results you get. So this one's a little tricky because I can understand why you might come to this conclusion, right? So if you're spending, let's say, I'm going to use simple numbers here. Let's say you're spending $1,000 a month on Google Ads. If you're spending $1,000 a month on Google Ads and you're getting, let's say, 10 leads for that, so $100 a lead, which is fairly, depending on the industry, you're getting 10 leads, right? So you're thinking, oh, if I spend $2,000, I'm going to get 20. If I spend $4,000, I'm going to get 40. If I spend $10,000, I'm going to get 100. Well, yes and no. I mean, there is such a thing as economies of scale. And it applies really specifically to Google Ads in the sense that a successful Google Ads campaign is going to be very well targeted, right? So at the end of the day, you don't need, you need to be very targeted on the person that you're trying to get. You're not casting such a wide net that you're just trying to get. It's not like a fisherman going out to sea and just casting a wide net and then just collecting everything and then choosing what you want and not what you don't want. This one, that's very inefficient, by the way. When you're doing PPC, you want to be very targeted. And when you're targeted, you're targeting by behavior, search queries, stage of life, location, time, whatever it is that might be the situation. And so if that's the case, by very definition, if you're targeting really well, you're limiting the amount of people that you're really wanting to get into your pool. And so if you're already putting a limit onto that, continuing to expand your budget on that limit doesn't quite give you the same results. You're going to reach a point where you're just going to be throwing money away. And I've seen that time and time again. My rule has always been, I've been doing this for a long time. My rule on PPC ads, like if you're a small business, let's say a dental practice or a veterinary practice or a vet dentist or something of that nature, and your audience is maybe 150,000, in a 7 to 10 mile radius or something like that, a good number to start at is $1,500 a month, right? That's as of today. That gives you good search impression share. It'll give you the ability to compete and be at the number 1 spot as often as you can. But if you start to get to 5,000 on that budget, on that limited definition that I just gave you, I don't think you're going to get the same results. In fact, I know you're not going to get the same results. Google is going to be struggling to get those views and those clicks of high quality views. And so they're going to start expanding it. They're going to start recommending things to you, and widen your angle and things like that. And so myth number 2 is adding more budget to your Google Ads doesn't always get you more leads or get you a better performing campaign. Adding more budget to Google Ads doesn't always give you a better return on your campaign. In order to really get a better return on your campaign, you need to focus on the quality score. You need to focus on lowering your cost per click, and then better targeting. So that's how you get more out of your money. Now, there is a minimum that you need to spend to have the exposure that you need, but just throwing cash isn't going to solve your problem. Okay, now myth number 3 is a good-looking website is a high-performing website. I don't know. I get it. We all like the pretty girl. We all want the pretty things. We all want the nice things and things like that. And we think that that's what's going to lead us to happiness or whatever. But you need a good looking website. I'm not saying you don't need a good looking website. What I'm trying to say is a good looking website doesn't automatically translate into higher performance. Now, let's define higher performance, right? At the end of the day, if you're a business, the performance on your website is visibility, traffic, engagement, leads, things like that, right? So that's what defines a good website. And so you can have a good looking website, but if you're not getting views and you're not getting good engagement and you're not getting leads, is it really good? Just asking, is it really good? Because you have to fulfill a certain objective for your business when you have a website. Now, an ugly website is probably not going to perform well either, but you need to get that, changed, right? What I mean by ugly is, well, I don't know. I haven't come across a site that looks like it was built in 1998. I did come across a couple of years ago, some manufacturing companies in the Midwest. I was doing some research and came across some sites, and I was like, whoa, these guys haven't updated in 1998. Now, I called them up and I said, hey, dudes, you need to update your website. People are expecting more. And they're like, why? We've been in business since, 1953. We created this website in 1998 and we're still in business. So anyway, that's on the other side. So I don't know where I was going with that, but you do need a good looking website, because the expectation is that especially Gen Z, millennials, and people like that, they expect it to be a functioning website, have good graphics, have good images, clear buttons, good usability, and things like that. That's what I mean by a good looking website, right? Not necessarily pretty pictures and things flying back and forth and things like that. So what you need to do is you need to really, once you have a good looking website, you really need to measure views, traffic, engagement, time on site, leads, what pages are popular, what's getting indexed, the speed of the website. You need to do a speed check, make sure that it's not taking too long to download on somebody's mobile device and things like that. So those are the kinds of things that I would be looking for, but just having a good looking website is not going to translate into high performance. Now, myth number 4 is actually one of my all-time favorite myths. This myth is that email marketing is dead. I don't know. There was a time maybe 15 years ago when everybody wrote articles about how so-and-so is dead, or, like time-tested things are dead. That was a popular way of writing things back in the day, and it was clickbait and people would click on those. And here's the reason why I believe. I've actually done a podcast on this already, on email marketing. So you could go through my history and find email marketing, but I'm a huge believer in email marketing. Now, I think AI is changing that a little bit, because there's a lot of spam emails that are coming through that are not human written. So let me qualify something here. A well-written, well-targeted, a well thought through email is one of the best things you could do for your marketing. The numbers on that are insane. I mean, according to, I think some of these sources are like Campaign Monitor, Email Monday. Those are some of the websites I checked, but they have some insane numbers. I think they're saying the ROI on an email for every $1 you spend on an email campaign is $36 to $40. Now that's according to OmniSend ROI report. I'll drop those links in the show notes if you want to check those out. That's insane. Tell me one form of marketing where $1 spend results in $36 in return, right? And I myself have experienced it. I have clients where we have sent email newsletters out and have gotten good returns. I mean, and good returns meaning we had one dentist that sent out emails on a monthly basis. And when we tabulated, we're not charging too much for these emails, right? Maybe $500 for maybe $1,000 for an email. He tabulated and he said he got about $16,000 or $17,000 in business from the emails that we sent out for him. So that's 160. That's for every dollar you got 160. So that's an insane return. And the reason why it works in those kind of situations is these are emails. These are the people on your list want to be on your list. So they've opted to be on your list. And the more opt-ins, the double opt-in is better than the single opt-in. Single opt-in is when you type in your email and it goes in. But the double opt-in is when you get a return back from that email saying, please confirm. So it's a double opt-in, right? If you've got a double opt-in email database of 1,000 people, that's gold, man. That's people that have said they want to hear from you. These are people that have said not only do they want to hear from you, but that they've confirmed that their email address is correct, right? And so if you have a really well-crafted, not spammy, not salesy, relationship building, educational, with call to actions and things like that, email works really, really well. And I know a lot of people get turned off by email because they get so many spam emails themselves and they feel like, wow, that's just insane, man. I don't want to be one of those people. But the unsubscribe rates on emails is on a good campaign is less than 0.5%. And I do email marketing every day for my clients. And we very rarely get anybody upset because we built a good list, right? We don't get people saying, take me off your list, or stop emailing me, or any of those nasty things, right? Because it's a well-built email, so anyway, so that's one of my favorite myths, because it's a myth that I think is just getting worse and worse. People are becoming more and more entrenched. And because of that, people are losing out on the fact that you should be using email to get business. All right. So now moving on to myth number 5. Myth number 5 is more traffic to your website results in more sales. Now, I mean, let's kind of caveat that a little bit, right? Like we have to do in almost everything. More traffic is a good thing. You do need more traffic to your website, but you need the right traffic, right? So if you write an article about, let's say, cleaning your pool, let's say you're a pool cleaning vendor, and you wrote a really good article about cleaning your pool, but you didn't target it locally to your audience, maybe because you're not going to go to Vermont if you live in Arizona or Utah, where I am. You're not going to go to Vermont to clean somebody's pool, right? You're not going to go to England. You're not going to go to Australia. You're not going to go to Canada. Well, maybe Canada, but in the summer. But you need to target that. You need to get, so if you get 15,000 visitors from Vermont and 20,000 visitors from England and 30,000 visitors from Australia because you wrote such a good article on pool cleaning, that really doesn't do you much. And if you only got 750 from your local market, that's not going to do you much at all. So you need to figure out a way to optimize your content. Kind of goes back to my SEO comment, right? So you do need to figure out a way to optimize your content for local search, for local discoverability and local visibility, so that even those articles that you're writing that are very educational draws in the local traffic, and the right traffic, homeowners in this instance, people that own pools, people that have questions about their pools, people that maybe don't have so much time to do the pool and things like that. So you need to figure out a way to write articles that would speak to them and try to get them to the website. So having 1,500 of those visitors come through versus 25,000 from outside of your market come through, I'd take the 1,500 any day, right? So that's myth number 5. So far, let me see. We have done myth number 1, which was SEO, right? Is a one-time thing. That's myth number 1. Myth number 2 was PPC. Spending more money on PPC results equals better results. And then myth number 3 was a good-looking website is a high-performing website. Myth number 4, hold on, am I losing track here? Myth number 4 is email marketing is dead. And myth number 5 is more traffic equals more sales. Now, myth number 6, this myth is a new myth. It is a myth that has come about in the last 2 or 3 years, and it is a myth that can ruin your business. And so this myth is that AI will replace digital marketing. Now, I will say definitely AI is not going to kill digital marketing. Now, I've been saying this for a long time. AI is a tool. A hammer is not a carpenter. A screwdriver is not a contractor, right? What else can I say there? A wrench is not a plumber, right? AI is not digital marketing. It's the same way, So if you feel like you can buy a wrench and just put it next to your sink and have it fix your sink, all power to you. Maybe it knows how to do it. But you still need somebody to know how to use the wrench, know how to use it at the right time, in the right setting, apply the right amount of torque, know which pipe to open, know which pipe needs to be replaced, know how to test and things like that. Now, I know the analogy kind of falls apart a little bit, but at the same thing, right? So let's say Canva can generate logos. Okay, I get it. Canva can generate logos. Canva can build websites, perhaps. I know there's different tools that can build websites and things like that. But if you feel like you're just going to be able to hit a button and build a website, I'm sorry. That's not going to work for me or you in the long run, because it's going to look like any other website, right? It's going to look like there's no replacement for human cognition, human strategy, human creativity. There is no substitute for that. I'm sorry. You need to get from these ones and zeros to quantum level computing in order to be able to do that. And we're not there yet. You just need an insane amount of computing power. The human brain is amazing. The things that it can think of, the way it solves problems, the way it perceives the world, the way it reacts to situations is amazing. And AI is not there. Even blogs. I have read so many blogs written by AI. It's like reading an 8th grade essay in a class of 100 that just copied and pasted the same thing. It's terrible, man. And it's also, there's nothing new in it, right? I think Elon Musk said that we have pretty much indexed all of human knowledge. So anything that comes out of AI is repetitive human knowledge. There's nothing new coming out of it, right? You're not creating anything new out of this repetitive brute force type thing. So digital marketing is all about creativity. It's about strategy. It's about making adjustments. It's about understanding. It's about trying to understand your customer. You think AI is going to understand your customer better than you? I don't think so. I don't think AI understands my target market the way I understand target market, or a human being would understand my target market. I don't think that AI would understand all the nuances of what the psychology of the buying cycle, or the psychology of the purchase cycle, or the questions that human beings ask on a regular basis. I don't think AI can answer that. And that's what you're doing as digital marketing. You are marketing your service or your product to somebody. You're communicating its value propositions. You're trying to give them peace over their fears. You're trying to give them a sense that they're making the right decision when they do business with you, right? And AI is not going to be able to kind of fill that void. And so while there are tools that AI offers, and I'm not saying don't use them, use ChatGPT, use Perplexity, use whatever tools there are, use Mind Springs or some of these other AI creative tools. Use it as a starting point to enhance your work, to maybe help you be more productive or save time and things like that. But at the end of the day, as a small business owner, AI is not going to replace your digital marketing. You're not going to be able to push a button and walk away from your marketing. You're going to need to be involved. You're going to need to have somebody looking over it. You're going to need somebody that's going to strategize and plan and be creative and get those things going. So anyway, so that's myth number 6. So as we conclude this episode, just to kind of wrap up for you guys, I understand that a lot of business owners have become very savvy when it comes to digital marketing. Their education level is at a whole different level than 15 years ago. A lot of them understand how social media works, how SEO works, how PPC works, how website development works, and things like that. However, even with all the elevated sense of knowledge and experience and abilities that small business owners and even business owners and marketing managers have, there are still 6 persistent beliefs that are myths that needs to be debunked. And so in this episode, I identified those 6 myths. SEO is not a one-time thing. It is an ongoing thing. The second myth is PPC requires strategy, not bigger spend. The third myth is good design must also perform. So just having a good design website is not enough. Number 4 is email marketing is dead. That's the worst myth in the world. Don't believe it. Contact me. I can help you overcome that myth. Number 5, traffic is not the same as sales. And then the worst myth right now that's taken over the world is that AI will replace digital marketers. It's the worst myth, folks. So with that in mind, I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have any, send me an email, write to me, let me know how I did, share this podcast, share this episode, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you grow your business. With that, happy marketing.
If you're a small business owner, a marketer in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. You'll become better educated and informed when it comes to digital marketing. And if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discuss in this podcast, your business will grow and prosper. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. You can also search for Corner Your Market in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast, and you can subscribe through those apps. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review. Finally, I would love to hear from you, so if you have any questions, feedback, or general comments about the topics I discussed, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.